Hey everyone, this is Mayan Gordon. I'm the owner of Mayan Gordon Media, and we have a very special guest today with our Live at 5 show, and that is Christopher Hummel. Thank you so much for being here today. If you don't know Christopher, well, then you probably are pretty new to LinkedIn because he is a major influencer on this platform, LinkedIn. We're also streaming right now to Facebook and YouTube, so if you're watching on those platforms, you got to make sure you come over to LinkedIn and follow Chris. In addition to that, he is an incredibly successful entrepreneur and business owner, having grown his company FITTEAM Global to more than 10 million in sales in his very first year. Now, I'd love for you to go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we're going to dive into some of the goodies of kind of, how you were able to achieve so much success. And if anyone watching right now has any questions at all, please make sure to drop them in the comments.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with yourself and your group. I appreciate everything you've been doing. The conversations we've had, I love to get around entrepreneurs and people are looking to do better. So our first year, we did almost 10 million. So I'll
call it 10. Let's round it up.
That seems to be what people like to do. But it wasn't from the first year. It literally is from years of effort. And then launching a company was all the effort I put into it beforehand. So FITTEAM, we're a healthy lifestyle brand. And, nutritional supplements that make an impact and really change people's lives physically and emotionally, spiritually. And it's just, it's been an amazing thing, but I love to educate and inspire. And that's why I spend a lot of time on different platforms. And I love LinkedIn, love the community on LinkedIn, definitely a great community. And look forward to sharing with everybody that's here with us.
That's awesome. Evening. Yeah, absolutely. So how long have you been on LinkedIn?
I looked this up. I was actually 2004 is when I got on LinkedIn.
Nice.
2004. And I played around with a little bit, but it was actually about Labor Day last year is when I decided to get serious about it and started posting consistently. And that obviously made a huge difference.
Absolutely.
So,
I think last time we talked, just for people's context, it was not too long ago, maybe less than 2 weeks ago, I want to say. He was just at 100,000. Now you're at like 120,000 followers already. So you're growing like crazy on the platform. Got in kind of early though. What prompted you, what made you aware of LinkedIn in 2004? I certainly wasn't very aware of it. So how did you find out about it?
I'm not even sure. I really don't. I just I didn't even know I started then. If I had to guess, I would have probably said 2008. But I just somewhere in my profile it said join date, and I was like, oh wow, 2004.
Cool. One of those things where you're probably trying things out, looking for things online, found something, created an account, didn't do too much with it till a couple years later.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I was what was they doing in 2004 on here? I have no clue.
That's awesome. So let's go back. When did you start up FITTEAM Global, and where did that spawn out of? What were you kind of give us a little setting? What were you doing beforehand, and how did you transition into that?
Well, FITTEAM was 5 years in January. We're located about as I was saying, about an hour and 15 minutes north of Miami. So in Palm Beach Gardens, 10 minutes north of West Palm Beach, beautiful, sunny South Florida. It's 80 degrees currently. The weather's
nice.
Very nice year round. Love it here, and been here for about 10 years. Grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and at a young age, probably 10 or 11, moved to the Detroit suburbs. So I was in Michigan, then I went to the Air Force at 17, spent my 18th birthday in the boot camp, so in the Air Force. Did that. I got my first job, I think it was 21, 22, and got laid off a month for my daughter being born. That completely changed.
That must have been stressful.
That was knocked me sideways. It completely changed, disrupted my world overnight. Got into real estate because I was looking to do something that I'd have my control over and not be at the mercy of someone else, where that would never happen again, basically.
Right.
So did real estate for a while. The market crashed in 2008. And at that time, I was looking for different people I was talking to, and I was watching at the time, kept saying, the trend is your friend, and everything I was looking for, the trend was health and wellness and that type of thing. So I got into nutritional supplements. And then about 5 years after that, 6 years after that, FITTEAM was born.
That's awesome. And I want to point out to people watching that this is a really good strategy if you don't really know what to do with your life. You don't have a particular passion pulling you in one direction, is to look at kind of very, very large trends. Health has been a trend for at least a decade, if not 2 or 3 decades on some sort of scale that's been growing really, really large. I don't see any end in sight to the growth of the health industry in every really level to it. So look at kind of big trends that are happening, and then within that, industry within that big trend, try and niche down. So I think what you did is you found some really interesting kind of supplements and products to promote. Like, how did you stand out from the other businesses that were starting up in the health industry?
There's a ton of supplements out there. It's a very competitive industry. So what we did different was, our products are organic, USDA certified, non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free. So we went through all the testing and made them, just a level up from everything else that's out there.
Awesome. That's awesome to hear. So you talked about how, yes, the first year you did very well, but there was a lot of planning and a lot that went into it before that. How many years would you say went into starting up FITTEAM Global before you really started FITTEAM Global?
Well, it's just I think it started, I grew up playing sports and stuff like that. So there's some teamwork and things you learn then, and then in the military, discipline and leadership, these different things, and then real estate, you get some sales and some marketing skills. So I think it's literally, I tell people it's going to take at least 5 years to work really hard to even get started, but it's probably 10 years. It's probably 10 years.
That's awesome. That falls right into, I have an incubation theory that any business really needs a 10-year incubation period where they're learning about what customers really want, where they're learning just a huge base of knowledge within their industry, getting to test things out. There's always, I think, a huge amount of testing involved in the beginning of business. And I'd love for you to kind of speak to that. What are some of the things initially when you got going? You did all this planning, but once you started, things don't always go according to plan. So how did you, one, deal with when things didn't go according to plan, and two, what are the things you tested?
No, nothing goes according to plan once you start, just so, as you probably know. But I think it starts with a desire. It's a desire to want more. You have to want something. You have to want something bad. And I wanted a different lifestyle for myself and my family, freedom, and just to be able to make an impact and inspire people, do something on a bigger scale outside my local area. And that's why, obviously, it's FITTEAM Global, do something around the world. So we had a big vision. That's probably the second thing, is have a vision. And then preparation, strategic planning, having some goals, what you're going to do. And like I said, as soon as you launch, you can put a business plan together. People talk about business plans and all these things, but literally when you launch, it's completely different than what you expect. There's always going to be different things that are happening. But I think time management, having a schedule of when you're going to work, and when you launch a business, you're going to always be working. That's just kind of your business off the ground. So your time management's always. And then one of the next most important things you can have is it's going to be people, because the people are going to determine ultimately the success you're going to have. As you continue to grow, you're going to add new people. New people you bring on they'll actually determine how successful you are. And you always add new people. People are, it's always changing. So to grow, you're always looking to add great people with you.
That's, I think that's a really great point. One person in absolutely any individual role can kind of make or break your company depending on their performance. So how did you find the right people? Like, clearly you have great people on your team. Otherwise you would not have been able to have grown so big. How did you find those good people, or what I would say, tests or processes did you put people through that maybe developed them into good people?
One of the hardest things, if not the hardest, is obviously finding good people. But we had a handful of people from years past that I've worked with and knew and that type of thing. So I had a little bit of help there by the time we actually launched FITTEAM. So you want to find people. The good thing about the group of people we have is like our culture is we really care about people. We really truly care about people. And then you want to find people that have a strong, incredible work ethic, especially launching a company. So we find people that have obviously great character, strong work ethic, and then people that are willing to be consistent and takes time to develop habits. But those things obviously are important for launching a company and then continue to sustain a company. Believing it's going to be possible, and always you want to have people that are never going to be, I don't want to say never satisfied, but they're never going to not grow. They always want more knowledge. They always want to keep learning. and that type of thing. And you want to find people that are going to persevere and continue to push through. There's always going to be ups and downs. There's always going to be ups and
Absolutely.
downs. Nothing's ever a straight line.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's really great advice. So let's say, to get kind of even more micro on it, is there particular metrics you look at to be able to measure people's work ethic, or kind of these different things you just described? Like, how do you gauge that in a business like yours?
Right. No, it's tough. People, the data thing, I think, there's definitely some stuff to it, but people are it's just different. I mean, it's when you have the right people, you'll know. And if you don't have the right people, you know that too. But I think there's almost anybody can add value in different ways. Sometimes you got to put people in different places.
Ooh, I like that.
Definitely. And Good to Great. I love that book, putting the right people in the right places on the bus. I think it's important, because there is a lot of people that can excel in the right position.
That's awesome. So
strengths and weaknesses.
So then, kind of in the context of all of that, when you are looking to hire people, what are the most important things that you guys look at and that you guys value as a company?
Well, there is a few things. I usually don't do a lot of the hiring.
Right.
Other people do, but people that want more, and they're not just looking for. It's kind of hard to describe, but just not looking for we want people that want to do something great.
Gotcha. More than just a job. They're looking to be a part of something. Right.
Exactly. And I'm probably not the best question or the best person to answer, because you just never know. Sometimes you think this person's going to be perfect, and then they're not. Sometimes you think, I don't know about this person, and they're like phenomenal. So putting people around you is probably the hardest thing to do in business. It really
So do you have someone specifically kind of on your team who's like very good at hiring? Did you go out and find that, or how does that work for you?
No, we have some different people obviously that bring in for different positions, but I think if there was we drilled down and looked for someone that's wanting for more, that understands it's a kind of our culture, which is different, which is a culture that, if you're looking for the 9 to 5, it's not it. Sometimes we're going to work nights, sometimes we're going to travel on weekends, that type of thing. And I think when you drill down to find exactly the kind of person you're looking for, you can weed out some other people. So you're looking for people that are looking to do more and want to really help build something and build something that's going to feel real good about and be fulfilled. And we have some purpose behind it.
Very cool. Very cool. So what is your job, 5 years in, what does your job look like on a day-to-day basis? Kind of what are your responsibilities as the head of this company?
I do a little bit of everything. I spend a lot of time with our brand partners. Our brand partners are ones that are out promoting our products. Product development's huge. Do a little bit with operations. Finance is obviously a big thing. Legal, distribution. So just a little bit. I do a little bit of everything. I like to focus on a lot of training and some marketing stuff. That's kind of where I love being around people. I love training people, coaching them, helping them overcome doubts, and I don't like to say motivate, but really empowering people and helping inspire them to do more. People ask me, how do you motivate people? It's really tough to motivate somebody that doesn't want to do something.
They have to already have that seed of some motivation. Yeah, I like the word empower much better, because it's you're taking what they already have and you're just amplifying it and helping them make it more. I love that.
You have to coach somebody every single day to get excited to do. It's tough.
Right. Yeah. It's tough for both of you.
You want to bring the right people in, and then it makes it a whole lot easier.
Yeah. And I think, I can attest to this as a coach also. Like it's the world of difference in how you feel as a coach. Because you're putting out the same amount of energy for everyone. Whether someone's trying hard or not, you're still going to give them your all. But those people who also bring their all to the table and combine it with your efforts and your energy, it's so much more fulfilling, and it really turns into something much greater too, which is what makes it more fulfilling, I would say. So do you do any outside coaching, or does all of your coaching revolve really inside of your company?
Like most of it's inside. I do get a lot of people, friends and people that I know have met me are always asking for advice and tips and how can I help them, and different struggles and challenges that's arise in their business.
Very cool. Very cool. So what drives you outside of like this, passion for helping people, let's say, improve their lives? What kind of drives you in terms of your purpose with your business? And, tied into that question is, where do you see your business going in the next 10 years?
That's a great question. Two of them. Well, what drives me is simple. It's my family. It's always has been my why, my dream, my reason. It's always to have a better life, instead of living paycheck to paycheck and or even not even that sometimes, bouncing the checking account and that type of thing, and sometimes barely having enough money for food. So I've been on both sides of it, and so just for a better lifestyle for my family is why. And then 10 years from now, have a global company. Currently, we're in the United States, we're in Canada and Mexico. We just got in those two markets middle to end of last year. Still working on there, so we continue to continue to expand. Europe, South America, Asia in the next 10 years, and do some great things, help a lot of people.
That's awesome. So let's go a little bit backwards on the technical side. Who do you sell to? Do you sell B2B? Do you sell B2C? What is kind of your model for distribution?
We don't put our products in the stores because obviously that model's kind of going away where people are shopping online. So our model is we have brand partners that have almost like affiliates, websites, and they're able to promote it. We promote it all online.
Very cool. All online. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Very cool. So in terms of that purpose and that passion that you have towards your family, would you say that you still are able to maintain that drive and that hunger because you had those experiences where you do remember like struggling, and even though you're in a position now where, let's say, you don't have to worry about that, is being able to remember what that was like, is that something that helps you, or how do you keep motivated and keep going forward?
I think that does. I think it's habits, though. I really think you have to develop habits, and you cannot let up on those habits. So that's just the way I'm wired now. It's so habitual. So I'm doing the things I was doing years ago. I'm still doing those things now.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's really, you're saying about thinking, what are the habits of the successful version of myself, and instilling those in a deep way to where even when you reach the level of success that those habits have helped you to achieve, the habits are like, that's who you are now, is that successful person. And that successful person doesn't do the things that the old you used to do.
Right. And I think leadership, one of the most important things of leadership is always going to be leading by example. Leading by examples, it's so important for anyone that's building a business, is to be a leader, is lead by example. Obviously, action and influence and integrity, and there's so many other things that go with leadership. But when you see someone that leads by example, even for me, I'm inspired by that.
Absolutely. So would you say you almost feel like a responsibility to your team and your company, that even if you for yourself felt like, I don't have to do anything today because like my life's made, it's great, but I have all these other people who are going to be looking to me, who I have to help, who I have the capability and responsibility to help. Is that something you kind of resonate with?
Absolutely. And one of the reasons since Labor Day, I said I've gotten more active on LinkedIn and other platforms posting is because we have a lot of people, we have a lot of customers all across America now. And that's a way for me to send a message every day. I'm posting every day, so they can see me. I'm involved, I'm active. I'm not just someone that you don't see and you don't hear from. I'm out there. I'm doing that part to be seen. And
why do you think that's important for your customers to see that?
I think it's important because then I'm involved. I'm involved to make things, to improve the company, to continue to.
Which means that you care. I think that's the real thing. Is it's not just you're involved. You care deeply, and posting every day and sharing valuable information and just literally putting yourself out there to be seen and access. It says, "Hey, I'm here. If you want to comment, I'll be there to respond. If you want to message me, I'm here. If you want to follow me, I'm making myself available." So I think that's a really, really great thing for any CEOs watching, for anyone who runs a business. That's an incredibly valuable thing, not just in terms of like marketing, right? Obviously, it's good for marketing, gets you more attention, but I think more internally, how you're connected with your employees, how you're connected with your customers, and having that visibility and transparency and accessibility internally makes things run so much more cohesively. When you can see your leader, right? It's almost like real battle, right? When you can see the leader at the front, you get more courage to go out to battle. You get more energy. You feel more a part of this amazing army. And I love to hear that you are, standing at the front of your army, tall and proud, and kind of screaming your war cry to the world. So what are some things that you would give as pieces of advice, or even just one piece of advice, to someone who has the ambition to grow a big company? Clearly, you didn't do it on your own. Who are some of the people, or not like individual, you don't have to say their names, but what are some of the roles of people that you felt were really instrumental in helping you kind of reach some of these great heights?
Some of the roles, some people, books I read, or some people that I'm around, or
yeah, I guess so. Either people you went to for advice specifically, or I would say people that you made members of your team. You knew, like, I have to find someone who's really great at finance, or like, what were some of those roles that people that you knew were going to be really important in your company?
Right. Every role is important, but when you're starting, obviously there's going to be finance, there's going to be operations, marketing, sales. So some of the people that we brought on early, is one of the first meetings I had was with my brother, and also Brent Niblo. So my brother does a little bit of everything, a little finance, a little help with different stuff that we do. And then Brent was sales. So those are two that definitely want to give a shout out to for all their hard work and effort. Brent is our VP of sales, and just does an incredible job with that.
So quick question on that before you go on. How did that like coalesce? Did you call him? You already knew him, I assume, and called him up and said, like, "Hey guys, I've got this idea. Let's talk about it." Or like, how did that partnership, and how were you able to bring them onto your team and kind of be a part of your vision?
We worked together, and then we just had conversations about doing something bigger, doing something better, impacting more people. So it was through conversation. And but we're used to working together. All of us worked together for a while. Did real estate previous, and Brent was working real estate with me. And I said, Brian, my brother, that we worked together. So
right. And he's your brother. So.
A long time. So.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's close this up. A couple more questions. I really appreciate your time. I know you're busy and have lots of things to do. In terms of executing at such a high level, how do you structure your day-to-day? We were just talking about how important scheduling is. How do you determine the structure of your schedule? And like, right, there's, let's say, 15 different pieces to this puzzle that you could put in any one day. Do you schedule things out like weekly and daily? Like, how do you construct your schedule?
My schedule is pretty set. It's pretty, every day is like, it's almost like, I don't want to say like Groundhog's Day, but I'm doing a lot of
pretty
same
rigid.
things.
Yeah.
Right. I'm doing a lot of same things every single day with different people, different calls, but it's pretty structured. It really is.
Okay. What are kind of the main components of it, would you say?
Time management is extremely important. Manage your time. So, wake up, being grateful for another day. You like to get exercise in the morning. I feel like I'm one of those people, if I don't exercise first thing in the morning, I'll just never get done. I think exercise is important. Most of the high achievers will actually say that's something that they do. So I think it's in health. Obviously, the more people don't take their health serious until they need to. So health is definitely, it's something that's going to become even more and more important.
Absolutely.
So it's definitely a great trend. Review goals. I start making my calls in the morning. I do all these certain things that I do every single morning up until about noon. And then afternoon, I'll start with different meetings and that type of thing. Go until about usually 5 o'clock. I'll take an hour break with probably 5 to 7 with family. And then it's like calls again. I'll do calls till, it just depends. It could be 11 to 12 o'clock at night. But I do that pretty much every single day, Monday through Friday. Saturday is usually a smaller day, probably 8 hours. And then Sundays, enjoy time with the family.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What is the favorite part? What's your favorite part of the day, typically? My
favorite part of the day is, I think, just spending time with family. Family is always going to be the number one for me.
That's awesome to hear. Well, thank you so much. If people want to get in touch with you, what's kind of the best way? Is LinkedIn the best way to get in touch with you, or is it through your website?
It's Christopher Hummel at LinkedIn and all the other platforms, and then FITTEAM Global on all the social media platforms.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for taking the time to join us. I thought you brought some incredibly valuable information, especially from someone who honestly is such a high caliber status entrepreneur. There are not many people running successful businesses the way you are, especially in today, with the situation that's going on. I think you guys were poised kind of from the get-go to do pretty well through this whole situation. And I'm really excited to see some of the things that, you're implementing coming out on the other side. I'm sure you've been working on some really interesting things. So thank you again. If you guys want to get in touch with me, you can also contact me through LinkedIn, Mayan Gordon. And you guys all have an amazing night. We will see you again tomorrow.
Thank you.